Unsafe at any speed.
And a most gracious good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's Charles Phoenix. Welcome to New York Cityland. Thank you so much for joining me. I want to just say thank you before we even get started, because without your support, I wouldn't be able to do this. And this is what I love doing more than anything, paying tribute to classic and kitschy American life and style. And I don't know about you, but I love New York City. I have never been there enough. I mean, I've been there a bunch of times, but never enough. There's so much to see and do there. And today's show, we are celebrating mid-century Manhattan, Coney Island, and the 1964 New York World's Fair. Where do we begin to behold the glory? How about right here with the lady herself, the Statue of Liberty? Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. Key word free, as in freedom. Yes, freedom, freedom. Yeah, freedom, freedom, freedom. Yeah, that's what we're talking about here. She is indeed the official greeter of New York City and of the entire United States. I love the beautiful New York skyline in the distance there. And of course, that glorious glowing torch. Don't you? I know. And, I love these people. First of all, on the boat, I love the lemon lime corrugated fiberglass on the roof there, don't you? I know you do. How much do we love anything lemon lime? So this is basically the people taking the tour. I love the bubble hairdos of the 60s. I love the guy there pondering and the little boy who is either blowing his nose or taking a picture. I'm not sure, but I'll never forget the first time I ever went to New York City when I was 17 years old. That's how old I was. And I finally saw the Statue of Liberty for the first time. I was shocked, quite frankly. I thought she was going to be much bigger. I mean, she's massively huge, but somehow I had it in my head that she was going to be as big as the Empire State Building. So anyway, but then in 2014, finally, all those years later, I wound up visiting the Statue of Liberty, and you get there and you're like, oh, looking up at her and everything, walking around her, you're like, my, what big hands you have. I know. Anyway, she is part icon, part landmark, part official greeter, and part observation tower. Yes, you can look out and see all of the city. Well, you just kind of saw the view a minute ago. But anyway, the thing is I remember about going there is that I don't want to say it, but I don't panic easily, and I really didn't panic. But when you are going up inside her, to go up to her crown where you can look out, it is very claustrophobic, because basically you're climbing in these tubes, and the person in front of you is like their feet are at your forehead, and your feet are at the forehead of the people behind you, like Habitrail, like hamster Habitrail. That's what it's like. And there was a point where I was like, okay, just keep going, just keep moving. Because if it stops, you can't move. And so I'm just warning you, if you are like maybe slightly claustrophobic, this might not be the event, the experience, the attraction for you in New York, up close and personal. But when you get up there and you look through that crown and you see the New York City skyline and all of that glorious glory of New York City, you do behold the glory, because you have arrived. You are there. It is a there moment, and ignore what I just said. You've got to go, no matter what. Behold the glory. I know. Speaking of behold the glory, I'll take Manhattan, the Bronx, and Staten Island too. It's lovely going through the zoo. The great big city's a wondrous toy, just made for a girl and boy. We'll turn Manhattan into an isle of joy. Manhattan is an island. We forget. I love this gorgeous scape of the city. How much do we love a cityscape? This looks like a painting. I know. So if you're going to be planning on doing any painting of a skyline right now, you might want to screenshot this, because this is your go-to art right here. I absolutely love it. And of course, this is the south side of Manhattan, lower Manhattan. And as a crowning touch, what do we see there? The Staten Island Ferry. Since the year of 1817, the same trip, back and forth, 5.2 miles back and forth, about average every 25 minutes. It runs 24/7, and guess what, you guys? It is F-R-E-E, free. It is the best deal in all of New York City. I mean, you get a boat ride, you get the skyline, you get Staten Island, and I cannot recommend it enough. There is no such thing as going to New York City without taking a ride on the Staten Island Ferry. I'll never forget going to Staten Island. I've been there twice, and basically, I was doing a show in New York City. It happened to be 2003. I'm good with dates. Good, because that helps me with this job. Anyway, so they said, we're going to go thrift shopping on Staten Island. I said, let's go. So we go there, and they're like, oh, and by the way, we're going to have Polish food, because they have Polish food restaurants there. I'm like, oh, absolutely, love. So we go there, and we have like pierogies, and I mean, they were just, of course, delicious. And we went to 3 thrift shops, and I bought a painting and everything, which I still cherish to this very day. But anyway, the last time I went to New York and I rode the Staten Island Ferry to Staten Island, I got off the boat. I literally walked 3 steps outside of the terminal, and it was like below 11 or whatever. And I'm like, okay, sorry, Staten Island, this isn't happening. I turned right around and went back to the city and went to my hotel room because it was so cold outside. I'm from California. We're not used to the cold, but it's not a cold day here. No, I don't think it is. It's a glorious, perfect spring or fall day. You can see that rich New York mist in the air. And again, the corrugated fiberglass panels up above our circle boat line tour. Don't you love it? Because orange and vanilla looks like, it actually reminds me of vanilla and orange sherbet. You know, when it used to come, I don't know. I don't think in the United States you can no longer get a box of ice cream, and inside when you open it up, it is a checkerboard literally of 3 by 5 squares of vanilla and orange sherbet. Yeah, vanilla ice cream and orange sherbet. I mean, maybe in Canada, because I was Googling it a while ago, and I think only in Canada, maybe not even then. Anyway, the Circle Line tours in New York, I highly recommend. They have been a tradition for every tourist since the year of 1945. Indeed, it is 35 miles around, and whoa, yes, you know you're going to see the legendary, iconic, landmark Brooklyn Bridge. Yes, the Brooklyn Bridge, built in the year of, finished in the year of 1883, took 14 years to build, and at the time was the longest suspension bridge on the planet. And of course, again, there's no such thing as going to New York City without at least driving across the bridge, if not walking across the bridge. I love the guy there in the hat on the far left looking at the bridge. The other guy in the white the white jacket there in the middle. I love the lady there with her black hat, basket woven pillbox, and her coat of black wool, and her white gloves. She's looking at the guy looking at the Brooklyn Bridge, but I'm looking at the guy in the gray, the light pearl gray suit. And then what's he looking at, I wonder? Oh, yes, he is. There it is now, ladies and gentlemen. In my opinion, the United Nations building is one of my favorite mid-century modern buildings on the planet. Bask in the glory of this divine perfection of exquisite, not really skyscraper, but very important form follows function, simplicity, like few other buildings in the known realm of mid-century modernity. It was completed in 1952. It is one of the 4 buildings there on the campus. Technically not on U.S. soil. It's on international territory, and for that reason, it has its own security force, fire department, and post office. And yes, as I just said, it is a masterpiece among masterpieces of mid-century modern buildings. And you can visit it. You can, and when you pull up in front, you will hear the whipping of 194 flags, each one representing one of the United Nations. And to see all that fabric and all that color like whipping in the wind will fill your soul and make your spirit soar beyond more and galore. Oh yeah, it will. I know you can just feel the energy of those flags. You can hear the whipping. Oh, I know. And that beautiful building there, that guy, and well, is it a guy and a little boy? I guess it is. Right there walking, and all those flagpoles. Have you ever seen so many flagpoles? No. This place has more flagpoles than anywhere else, I'm pretty sure. Side by side by side by side by side, on and on and on. Inside, from inside, a plate glass window, and you can see some of the flags out there. And this has to be like the Ladies Who Lunch, the Wednesday Afternoon Fine Arts League. And I don't know about you, but I love checking out the cut of their coats and the wool that all of those coats are made out of. I mean, just the way that rich, beautifully woven, beautifully spun wool, those wool fibers coming together in a weave, hang. The quality, the richness, you can just see it there. I love the coat of turquoise on the left. Oh, next to her, that's a skirt of avocado green. But over on the far right, Little Red Riding Hood is there in her red wool coat. But let's not forget about that gorgeous buttercream wall. I know. Not to mention the light, the recessed square light fixtures. And then, how much do we all seriously love a black and white checkerboard floor? Who would have ever guessed? Checkerboards continue, this time in peanut butter and cream. Yes, actually, it makes me want a peanut butter and banana sandwich right now. I know. Anyway, yes, this is the grand lobby of the United Nations building. Freeform modernism inside. Absolutely spellbinding. Again, this is a must-experience New York City attraction. You too can take a tour inside. And when you do, you will bask in the glory of the glow of it all. Including, I know, don't you love those 4 floors there? And then my favorite part is, yes, of course, the staircase and the turnaround there on the ramp that you go up. But how much do you love the support of the ramp? The McDonald's golden arches? Well, exactly, not McDonald's, and naturally, they're not golden inside. But they could open up a little McDonald's stand underneath those, don't you think? I know, every time I see arches, especially a pair of arches, it's like, hello, McDonald's, I know. Also, you guys, the United Nations building is full. It is a treasure trove of art. It is not only where the nations unite, it is also where some amazing art is shown off. Presented in 1954, this is the Triumph of Peace tapestry made in Belgium. One of the largest tapestries ever made. The themes and symbols of peace, prosperity, and equality are represented in this glorious piece of work. And the dove of peace approaches the fountain of goodwill. I mean, you could feast your senses on all of the details of this, all of the beauty of this, all of the color theory of this you would never get tired of looking at it. And, because it's a masterpiece. Speaking of masterpieces, speaking of skyscrapers, absolutely, in no uncertain terms, the most famous skyscraper in the known universe is this. This is the Empire State Building, named for the state that it represents and stands in, built in 1931. And it was the tallest building in the world until 1970, when the World Trade Center became taller. It is 102 stories tall, and you can go up it. And of course, again, one of the quintessential New York City attractions, experiences that you must do while you're there. And style-wise, it is an Art Deco masterpiece of the absolute highest order. Here is the Empire State Observatory, 102nd floor, 1,472 feet above ground level. I love it as the wind direction, so you know which direction the wind is going to blow you around in up there. And the wind velocity, unfortunately, out of order, hands off. I don't know about you, but I love whoever drew that, whoever wrote out of order. that's my kind of font right there. It's like kind of double lined and then filled in with like candy stripes. Like, give me a candy cane. It makes me want peppermint right now. Anyway, speaking of wind, I mean, bizarrely, part of the original intent of the Empire State Building was to be a mooring station. The upper mast was going to be a mooring mast for airships. Hello, the Hindenburg. Well, that didn't last. That idea did not last too long. So it never happened. This was just a representation of what was supposed to happen, but it never happened. And oh, by the way, in 1933, the movie King Kong actually cemented the fame of the Empire State Building as one of the ultimate structures on the planet. Up on the roof there, you see that claw fence coming over. They don't want you climbing over that. Oh no. I love this, first, the lady on the right standing there, like she is not too sure she wants to get any closer. Just her posture, the way she's standing back like that and holding onto that purse. The other lady, she holds her purse a little differently, wears a spring dress. It looks like she's got pearls, shoes to match. The lady in pink, she's got another, it must be spring or summer. It has to be, because they're dressed for warm weather. The two guys looking out over there, and then the child about to fall over the edge through one of those wire diamonds. Don't we love anything in a diamond pattern? Oh, yes, we do. Speaking of diamond patterns, speaking of things that are gleaming and glowing, look at that. The top of the Chrysler Building. Absolutely one of the most special, perfect toppers on any building ever built in the history of building. Built in 1930. I have to say, you guys, again, we are over the stratosphere of true greatness in the realm of inventive and stylized architecture. The Chrysler Building, as in Chrysler Motor Car. Yeah, I know. It is absolutely it's hypnotizing, spellbinding, and mesmerizing. However, I will tell you, I do not want to be the voice of disappointing news. It is not available for a tourist to go up to the top, maybe unless you know somebody. I mean, do you know somebody? Because I'd like to go up there. I never have been. But behold the glory of that. Also from the roof of the Empire State Building, you look down and you see Gimbel's department store. And, I never even heard of Gimbel's until, I have heard of it practically my whole life, as long as I've been watching I Love Lucy, because on I Love Lucy, Lucy and Ethel occasionally, maybe once or twice, maybe 3 times, mention going to the Gimbel's basement for bargains. I absolutely love it. So yeah, it is quite a New York landmark. Unfortunately, it's no longer there. It closed in 1986. But by the way, according to the legend, I was doing a little research, and as it turns out, this store was one of the stores that claims to have been stolen from the very most, because it was very conveniently located right across the street from a subway station. So you could go in and grab something, run right across the street and go down in the subway, and boom, you're gone. You're out of there. By the way, Gimbel's did not start in New York City. I believe it started somewhere in the Midwest. And also, they are the ones that started the legendary Thanksgiving Day Parade, not Macy's. Speaking of Macy's, here it is. Founded in 1858, Macy's is, the conqueror of all, as we know now, the conqueror of all department stores. Macy's is the one that wound it up pushing every other major department store out of business, and now we have Macy's wherever you go. But this is the iconic Macy's. This is, if you were going to shop at a Macy's, this is the one. The world's largest department store, takes up one entire city block. They took over, maybe stole, I'm not sure, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, which we watch every year on television. That has been going on. This year will be the 99th year. So yeah, currently they operate over 700 stores in the United States. Maybe it's down to 300 now, with the way things are going with department stores. I know. Anyway, we're not talking about the way things are going with department stores right now, but let's look at this picture a little bit. I love the cars going by. It looks like that red car is a 64 Chevy. That's a 65 Ford taxi cab there, and looks like a 65 Mercury two-door hardtop next to it there. I can't quite see what the name of that store is. Is it Nichols? something like that. Or it's probably a place to get food. And don't we love the bus on the left there? I know. And oh, those flagpoles angling out, like somebody forgot to put up the flagpoles. That's okay, because we're going to go see some flags right now at Rockefeller Center, ladies and gentlemen. This is Titan. He is the ancient Greek. Oh no, it's the ancient Greek Titan. I actually have some notes, you guys, here. I mean, it's kind of impossible to remember everything. I know. I mean, I love remembering everything, and I got a good mind for all this stuff, but so Atlas, we are seeing Atlas. Atlas is standing there holding up what represents the world on his shoulders, holding the heavens on his shoulders, I guess it is. He is the largest sculpture at Rockefeller Center, and there's no such thing again. There's no such thing as going to New York and not experiencing Rockefeller Center from in one way or another, even if it's just walking by Atlas. Because he is, talk about a monumental, experiential, extravaganza moment to have. And New York is full of moments. It is like a great big theme park. Rockefeller Center was built in about 34. It opened in 34. There are 19 commercial buildings there. And it is quite this is the most famous element of Rockefeller Center, ladies and gentlemen. Radio City Music Hall actually opened, according to what my note here, in 1932. It is indeed one of the largest theaters on the planet. It started as a live stage show, but then evolved into being a movie theater. And it is also home of the world's largest theater organ. And how much do we love theater organ music? Oh, yes, we do. Anyway, by the way, I love the wraparound signage that still exists there to this day. It says Music Hall, Radio City, Music Hall, Radio City. It says it. How many times does it say it there? I mean, 4 right up front and then going down the street. This slide was taken according to the cars. You have a 67 Ford, a 67 Chevy, and a 67 Dodge going down the street there as taxi cabs. So this is a very 1967 shot, as is, I believe, this to be the Rockettes, the legendary, the most famous kickers on the planet. Indeed, they are. The Rockettes started in St. Louis. They do, according to it's a little kind of crazy here, but they do over 160 kicks per show, perform up to 4 shows a day. Over 3,000 women have been Rockettes over the years. That seems like not as many as you'd think. And anyway, there's 40 Rockettes kicking on stage at once. I'm ashamed to say, I have never seen the Rockettes in person. I have never been inside Radio City Music Hall. But you know what's great about not having done something that you want to do? Is it's always fantastic in life to have things to look forward to, isn't it? I know. Oh yeah, speaking of, here we go. This is The Tonight Show, being filmed in 1964, I believe. This is inside Rockefeller Center. That is Johnny Carson sitting at the desk there. Johnny Carson started as The Tonight Show host in 1962 till 1992, 30 years. The Tonight Show invented late night television. It started in 1954. Over the years, there have been 13 different hosts. Of course, Johnny Carson being the most iconic. And you gotta hand it to Jay Leno as the one, that we also know very well. And now, of course, Jimmy Fallon is the host. There have been over 13,000 shows. And, here's what I love. First of all, I love that, it's not a curtain, but that peacock kind of colored back there, that green, peacock blue and green background, absolutely gorgeous. That beautiful, glorious NBC color television. NBC, you see the logo there, and then it says color television written out in script in red. I love that. That is the original color television camera. That is what the originals look like, and they are beautiful. A friend of mine has one in his house, and when you walk into the room and see it, it's like, it's kind of like a robot sitting there. It's on, of course, it rolls around and everything. So behold the glory of that that masterful piece of technology that changed the world. Color television. The first color television show was Bonanza in 1959, but most people did not have color television until about 1967, 1968. Color television, the first season of television where many shows crossed over to going from black and white and color was the 1966 season. So anyway, someone in the audience took this picture, and you might wonder who that is performing. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Kay Ballard. Kay Ballard was a comedic performer, very multi-talented, known to Broadway audiences starting in the 1940s and 50s and 60s. And then ultimately she was on a television show in the 1960s that ran a couple of seasons produced by Desi Arnaz called The Mothers-in-Law. And her co-star on there was Eve Arden, who we all know as the principal in the high school principal in the movie Grease. Yeah, so they had a television show. But anyway, what an incredible scene. What an incredible shot. I mean, this is the real deal. When I found this slide in the collection of all my slides that I collect, I really almost fell off the chair because this is something really special. As is this. This is the Blue Angel. It was a kind of it was a rather sophisticated nightclub in New York City that ran from 1943 to 1964. It was a supper club at Park Avenue and 55th Street. According to the legend, among the most iconic performers ever to perform there, and there were many. Eartha Kitt, you know her. I can't really do it, sorry. Anyway, Eartha Kitt performed there a 20-week run in 1952. In 1962, a very young Barbra Streisand made a massive impact on the New York entertainment scene and paved her own way right then and there to her superstardom. And then, let's see, who else? The song Fly Me to the Moon and Let Me Play Among the Stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. That song was first sung at the Blue Angel in the year of 1954. But none of that. Let's not talk about that anymore. Let's just talk about the Blue Angel. I love the sign up there. You know, those lights glittering, the spotlights on that canvas awning, and stenciled on there, appearing nightly, Carol Lynn. Carol Lynn was Bourbon Street's most sexy, naughtiest, exotic. Well, I guess we might as well get it out in the open. She had to be a stripper. But anyway, I love all the people there and the hand-painted sign in the window and that kind of photo cut out of her there. Whoa, I know. Oh, you didn't want an angel. You wanted Prometheus. Fine, here you are. The cherry on top of the cake of Rockefeller Center's iconic sculptuary and statuary. Sculptuary, is that a word? Could be. Yes, it is Prometheus there. He is kind of the cherry actually on top of the entire thing at Rockefeller Center, the entire campus there. Gilded in gold. Or do you just say gilded? He is gilded or he is gilded in gold. He's gold. And he's 18 feet tall, weighs 8 tons. He is the mythological god of fire. And that must be some fire he's got right there on his hand. And I don't know if that's fire in his hair, if his hair is on fire, or if he's wearing a very, very sculptural bathing cap. But anyway, he represents human quest for knowledge and is the most photographed thing, one of the most photographed things in all of New York City. Anyway, so there he is. You can see him there. In the wintertime, they turn that lower area there in front of them into an ice rink. To this day, that has been going on, I believe, since the 1930s when Rockefeller Center opened. I don't know about you, but I mean, you would agree with me, of course, I'm sure, that Rockefeller Center and this ice rink is one of the there places of the there of New York. Absolutely. And all those flags that surround it, and just all the people and the buildings and the energy. And at Christmas, they put up the big Christmas tree there, and it's just spectacular. It looks like there's something going on with the hospital fund, it looks like I can see there. And I love that guy right in the middle. He's really working his moves and everything. He's got a little audience happening. I love it, love it, love it. Now, in the summertime, they actually cover the ice, or they melt the ice, and they put up tables and umbrellas. And I don't know if you go have lunch there or what. I've actually never done that. I've actually never ice skated at Rockefeller Center, but I could. I don't know how it's possible that I can actually ice skate, but I can. It's like I'm bad at all those kind of things. Like I can't dance and I'm not good at sports, but I can roller skate and ice skate. I don't know why. But I would love to ice skate at Rockefeller Center. That is something you do, like as soon as it starts to get cold, get out your best looking winter clothes that you can move in while you skate and just skate around there and just enjoy the moment, enjoy your life. Life is about making memories. And when you go ice skating at Rockefeller Center and Prometheus is watching you the entire time, you do not forget it. Oh, you didn't want to go ice skating. You wanted some hot summer sun. Fine, be that way, Coney Island. Oh, yes, it is. Coney Island was... So here's what I didn't get about, again, island. Manhattan is an island, Coney Island. I didn't get, until I researched it a little bit, Coney Island was an island originally, and then they landfilled it in. So that is so bizarre. Or I'm not sure exactly what year it happened, but probably around the turn of the 19th century, or wait, no, the 20th century, I meant, is when they hooked it up. Or maybe it was in the late 1800s. I don't know. But anyway, I love this long, sweeping, picture-perfect shot. All the people out there, this is everybody's place. Everybody goes to Coney Island. And in the background there, you see high-grade all-beef frankfurters. That makes me want a all-beef frankfurter right now. Also, the bathhouses there. 2 bathhouses, or is it just one? Anyway, they don't literally mean bathtubs. They mean an indoor swimming pool, or as they would have called it then, a bath or a plunge. Yeah, they didn't really call them swimming pools yet. They hadn't gotten that glamorous about it, but I absolutely love this. Of course, there are amusements in Coney Island. I mean, that's really the legend of Coney Island, are the amusements there. And of course, there you see the parachute drop. I love that Coca-Cola billboard. I love Dan D, the original no-slipping plastic floor and floor polish. Don't you love that billboard? I know. And don't you love, first of all, I also love the lady in her red coat and the little turquoise little kid's coat beside her. Kind of match the colors of the Coca-Cola billboard. And I'll admit it right now, my 2 favorite colors together, my number 1 favorite color combination of all time is red and turquoise. They're like the 3D colors. So anyway, but there's just so much. That parachute drop was built in 1939 for the 1939 World's Fair. And it stopped being a parachute drop in 1964, but miraculously it still stands. It still stands. So, I mean, how much do we love that? And how much are you loving the guy with all dressed up in a suit? Everyone's so dressed up. Of course, we know that. Back then, this picture was probably taken, I'm gonna say like 48 or 49. I mean, it looks like kind of on the, yeah, I'm gonna guess, according to the Coca-Cola billboard and the way people are dressed. That man has a trench coat there like he's expecting a rain. The lady in that forest green car coat there, it's not so long. She is pondering life, looking over at the beach there. Just this whole scene, the energy of all the people, and just the honesty of it all. And the parachutes coming down. I know. Absolutely love it. Oh, by the way, did I mention that the parachute drop, the sculpture, the structure of the building still stands there, and they have lit it up, and it is, of course, a local landmark, a miracle, and a monument to the decades and just, you know, the people that have enjoyed the amusements of Coney Island. And I love this shot here, Cook's Baths, Moe's Baths. I guess Moe's are baths as well. Paul's Delicatessen, Cappy's. I want to go to all those places, don't you? I know. And just the simplicity of the build, the signage, the quality of the signage, the art, the graphics, the style, the simplicity, the boardwalk. Look at the way that the wood is laid on the boardwalk. It's a pattern. It's so beautiful. The people walking on the boardwalk, those kids in the middle, and that lady, oh, the little girl, I wonder if she fell down or if she dropped something or what. I don't know. but you can see the roller coaster there in the background. And of course, I'm sure you've noticed the Wonder Wheel. Yes, one of the most iconic attractions, amusements, thrills in all of the Western Hemisphere is indeed, ladies and gentlemen, the Wonder Wheel. It is written right in the middle of it. It is branded, so you never are going to forget what it is. Built 103 years ago. It is a true miracle that it still stands and still operates. But it is not just a regular Ferris wheel. As you can see, as you go around, your Ferris wheel car kind of goes like that. So, weirdly, I have never been on this. I've been to Coney Island only 2 times, but I want to go back, of course. But, I think I had fear, like in earlier part of my life, that I wouldn't want to go on something like that old. But you know what? Now I totally would. Absolutely. By the way, I will tell you that at California Adventure in Anaheim, right across the, way from Disneyland, the other theme park there, they have copied this, and their big Ferris wheel or whatever, it's not really a Ferris wheel, because it does this. The cars do this. They have copied this, so it's there. Also, don't you love saltwater taffy and bathing supplies? So anything you need for the beach. I mean, going to the beach was going to bathe. Bathing took on a different meaning. Now, if we bathe at home in a bathtub. But that's not what it meant back then. And those Coca-Cola signs and wards and something spray painted out. Who knows what that is? And who knows what this is? This is indeed the sideshow there. I mean, I know by today's standards, this gets a little touchy. It gets a little politically, charged. But it is part of history at Coney Island and so many other places. $10,000 reward if you fail to see the strangest living wonders. Worked with, Francesco Lententi. Well, you guys, I guess we might as well get it out in the open. He was a real person, and, well, he was born with 3 legs, and in those days, that the opportunity that was bestowed upon him to earn a living was to be an attraction in a sideshow, as they called them, and at a circus, or in this case, at Coney Island. But according to the legend, he did pretty well and actually lived to be an old man, dying at 1966 at the age of 77. And he was respected among his peers and called the King. So I love all the people waiting there, the way they're also beautifully dressed. The young lady in that red jacket and that gorgeous skirt. Looks like she has a bobby sock on. The little kid there kind of standing all casual with his cuffed Levi pants, his striped t-shirt. The gentleman there in that cream-colored blazer and those royal blue gabardine slacks. Absolutely timeless classic. And strangest living things. What else does it say? Oh, Alberta, Punch and Judy Rock and Roll Review. I mean, there's a lot to see and a lot to do there in Coney Island. And that picture was probably taken, early 50s, maybe mid 50s at the latest. This looks like it's probably a little later, late 50s. 30 attractions, hot rods, motorboats, pavilion of fun. I don't know about you, but just the eye candy alone, the color theory, absolutely hypnotizing, spellbinding, and mesmerizing. Makes you want to ride on every one of those rides. The Cyclone, there it is. Here's another view. This is actually a commercial slide, so the color is a little kind of wonky, but the Cyclone started in 1927. It is still going to this very day, but you know what, you guys? Let's have a moment for the Cyclone. I have to have a little drink, don't you? I know. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Cheers. Sorry. It's a lot of talking. Woo! How's everybody doing so far? You guys doing fine? I thought so. Anyway, how much do we all seriously love a great, iconic, legendary, landmark roller coaster? And this country has several in various parts and places that are about as old as the 1920s, a couple even earlier maybe. But this is probably the most famous of them all there at Coney Island. I rode on it in 2003. It rattled me so much that I vowed never to ride it again. But you know what? I probably would, quite frankly. I mean, I love to experience a legend. I love to experience a landmark. I love to experience the layers of time. Everywhere I go, I'm in search of looking through, being able to look through the layers of time and touch time. I mean, that's deep and soulful to me and gives my life meaning, to tell you the truth. I love historic places. I mean, history is kind of a word that, is a little, I don't know, we don't really revere history in this country as much as we should. But I love it. Anyway, don't you love all the attractions here? First of all, those little rocket ships, that little kiddie ride. I mean, just the color theory again, they're alone. Gorgeous, that red and white one with the yellow front, macaroni and cheese with that like greeny turquoise ball or circle on the front, sea foam and turquoise behind that. All the rails painted red, the multicolored fencing, the little horse and buggy ride, orange on that turquoise center, the ticket booth, red and yellow together. Always a powerhouse punch in the realm. If you want to get somebody's attention, paint it red and yellow. And of course that ride in the background that goes like spinning around and everything. I know, I want to go there. And way back there, oh, the carousel right in the middle. That is the carousel, and here we are. The carousel is ready for its close-up. Again, this has to be late 1940s. Judging by the way these women are dressed, maybe it could be early 50s, but the lady in that kind of Girl Scout colored suit with her kind of pillboxy hat, and the other lady there in her buckwheat colored suit, very straight skirt, and 4 buttons up. She's a little unbuttoned. Well, she is at Coney Island after all, so you can kind of cut loose a little, but she still has her white gloves on because she is a proper lady. I know. And her hat with a brooch right up there. Gotta love them. The guy standing there in his tobacco-colored blazer, you can just tell the quality of that wool that it's made out of. It's just you just want to touch it. And the lion! Look at that roaring lion. That beautiful macaroni and cheese or Velveeta-colored body paint that they painted him is kind of like almost lifelike hooves. And that forest green mane he has, and that orange tail tip. The color theory on his saddle, that decorative saddle, is absolutely straight out of a fantasy storybook, isn't it? I know you want to go on a train ride. I have never seen a train engine like this. It is it's kind of, I don't know, it's got an attitude about it. The light all the way up at the top there in the center, and those 3 little, like, kind of macaronis or whatever. I mean, well, they don't really look like macaronis, but I don't know. I have pasta on the brain right now for some reason. That color scheme again, that rich poppy red with that bright yellow is absolutely gorgeous. The man driving it is wearing a contrasting, like cobalt blue. Look how the light absorbs that fabric, and the Kodachrome film that we are blessed to have these images in. By the way, Kodachrome film is the most luxurious medium anything ever could have been documented in. Kodachrome film gets more colors, more tints, more shades, more hues than digital is capable of. Can you believe it? I know. Anyway, we could go on and on and on, but the little train cars and everything, I know. And of course, the spinny thing back there. I have never been on one of those. No, I haven't. I don't know why, just haven't, but maybe someday, you never know. Life is full of surprises. You never, well, yeah, it is. But what I love most about this photo, of course, is who painted that? Who painted the side of the whirly ride there? I mean, that is modern art. Look at the color theory. Take a note on it. Take a snap grab, whatever it's called, a snapshot, a screen grab. That is mid-century modern art. I mean, it's a masterpiece. It's perfect. If it were in a frame in a museum, it would absolutely be an attraction. I just love it. I just love the colors of it, the blues, the yellows, the forest greens, the oranges, that kind of light apricot, that pink. I know. I know. I just love color. I love color theory. I love all about color. The world needs more color. You're hungry. Fine. hot sandwiches, hamburgers, Schifrin's Hebrew National Restaurant, self-service, orangeade, root beer, potato something. I'm not sure. All written out for your pleasure and mine in neon. How much do we love neon? Yes, neon everything. The world needs as much neon as it could possibly get. Each one of those neon glass tubes were hand bent. Each one is a work of art. Typically I call them like, a man craft. But women do it too. I guess, I shouldn't say that anymore because I don't want to offend anybody, ladies, of course. But anyway, if you want to take a neon class, a lot of towns, a lot of cities have neon bending courses now. I know the Neon Museum in Glendale, California, near where I live in Los Angeles, they have neon bending classes. And neon, I know. Neon signs, the vintage neon signs of the mid-century era, all deserve to be preserved, as 99.999% of them are one of a kind. And, very special, of course. Each one a world-class national treasure. I love the guy walking along there, the guy standing there at the stand, the other guy reaching in his pocket, and that lady checking her phone there right in the middle. Again, that's the lady we just saw with her gloves. I can't believe it. In her buckwheat colored suit. Looks a little lighter in this shot, but I recognize her kind of beret hat and that brooch. But what happened to her gloves? I don't think she has them on anymore. She has them in her hand, maybe. Anyway, I don't know. But the details here, just, all that's available, all of that electrifying neon signage, and of course, the bias cut of the boardwalk, because it is a walk of boards. I know. Anyway, again, not to go on and on or anything, but potato chips, it's got to be potato chips. You know what I love more than anything is homemade potato chips. That's like, to me, the most delicious thing there ever is. So anyway, we have all been in yesterday land up until right now. This is me at Coney Island on Christmas Day in 2016. Yeah, I know, how bizarre. What are we going to do for Christmas? How about we go to Coney Island? I know, it was freezing cold, as you can tell. I was bending over sideways to try to be less cold. The wind chill factor, I don't know. I mean, whatever it was too cold for this Californian. But I basked in the glory of the glow of that giant corner store, Nathan's world famous Frankfurter since 1916. I love the big Frankfurter up on the roof there. I love all the signage, seafood, clam bar, delicatessen. Oh, I know. And there it is, the sign right up there. Is that a camera or a purse shaped like a camera? I don't know what's going on, but I love a hot dog and a human when they have a baby together. I love the neon, of course. We've all gotten that. We all know that by now. We all love the neon signage. And of course, this is the main course. And this was indeed my Christmas dinner in 2016. 2 mustard dogs. And oh, by the way, if you love, you guys, nowhere in the world, I know there's Chicago dogs and all that. That's a whole different thing. But in New York, the local food is hot dogs and pizza. Those are the local foods of New York. But anyway, also, what's for dessert? Well, if you want an icon, Junior's since 1950. Junior's, the specialty of the house is cheesecake. And I would show you a piece of cheesecake, but you know what that already looks like. This is the Junior's in Brooklyn. There are several locations, but it is absolutely a must-do, must-experience, must-taste, must-have, must-everything attraction in New York City. Junior's, restaurant, bar, and famous cheesecake. Yes, I do love the local foods. The other place in New York City, this is a shot that I took just a few years ago of Katz's Delicatessen. If you love to look through the layers of time, if you love an iconic history experience, an iconic moment, an iconic landmark, iconic lore, iconic legend, if you love to taste history, then here it is. Since 1888, send a salami to your boy in the army. That is their logo, their slogan, Inside, it is crowded full of people, all clamoring to enjoy, mostly a pastrami sandwich. And there you can see the star of the show right there on trays. I love the hanging bullet lights, and those guys that are back there behind the counter, they are called cutters because they are cutting the meat. And anyway, I just, you guys, the sign, catering for all occasions. You know that sign has been up there since like 1952. You can just tell. Don't you love it? I mean, bask in the glow of that. That is something, that's a treasure, that's a masterpiece, that is art. And that deserves to be, well, the whole place is like a living museum. And also, we didn't see this sign, mail order department, there it goes, send a salami to your boy. Oh, it doesn't say it, but the slogan is, as I just said, to your boy in the army. Salami to the army. I love the way it rhymes. In New York speak. Katz's, does it say that's all? That's all? Okay. It's not all. It's never all. It's never finished. It's never done. This place goes on forever and always. Katz's Deli, New York City. You got to taste it. You got to do it. You got to experience it. And don't you love any sign that is outlined with a neon United States? I know. And oh, by the way, the guy there is wearing the hoodie with Katz's Deli on the back of it. Might as well take one of those home. And you might as well send a salami back home to yourself. I believe the salami, the small one, if you want to mail order it, is $36.95. And you can, well, and they go up from there, of course. Anyway, speaking of art, I love the Solomon R. Guggenheim Museum of Art by Frank Lloyd Wright, opened in 1959. It is one of the most spectacular buildings in all of the known universe of experimental and unusual architecture. Yes, controversial in its day, but as we all know, we've all accepted it as a mid-century modern masterpiece. And I believe that it was, really, it's the biggest building. If not, is it the only building Frank Lloyd Wright did in New York City? I think it is. Anyway, but do you know that he originally wanted it to be red? He wanted it to be painted red, and apparently, according to legend, he did not like this color that ultimately was decided upon. But here we see it, and we are in 1959 here, because, or maybe 60, I can see this 59 Chevy there. It looks like two Volkswagens in a row, and is that a little two Volkswagen Bugs parked in a row, and then I think that's a French car behind it, a Renault. So it's obviously a very progressive, already foreign car buying, thinking group of people that are hanging out there. But anyway, I mean, again, going to New York, you do not want to miss a trip. If you're going to go to one museum, I mean, New York is loaded up with museums, but you definitely want to experience and get your steps in going up the ramp. It just keeps going and going and going. It's almost a quarter of a mile long. This building is a monument to modernism and modern art. And it is absolutely a there in all of New York City. And when you get there and you look up, there's a dome ceiling. And in all, at the end of the day, it is I just said it, a monument to modernism. Oh, you didn't want so much modernism. You want the ancient art. Fine. That is where, or the New York Metropolitan Museum of Art is where you are going to find a 5,000-year span of artifacts and art. And here we are. It looks like we're in the Egyptian room there. I remember the first time I ever went to a museum when I was in third grade. We took a field trip to LACMA. So driving in a school bus all the way from Ontario on the freeway to the big city to LACMA. And I just remember just feeling like, I mean, my spirit was exploding inside with joy because I was getting to do something that made me feel sophisticated. And I can remember being there at the museum and just trying to be proper and poised and dignified and pay attention and understand what I was looking at. I mean, I don't really think I did that much, but I never forgot that experience. I never forgot that feeling, that high that I got from being surrounded by and enveloped in all of this creativity on beautiful, rich, glorious display. And I still get that feeling in museums. I mean, I want to stand up tall and just be proud. Don't you? I know. Anyway, so I don't know. I just, you just love walking around and trying to understand and learn about everything you see and just be enriched by it all. Speaking of being enriched, this is the restaurant at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. It opened in the early 50s and it closed in the early 80s. It was called the Fountain of the Muses restaurant, designed by legendary interior designer Dorothy Draper. So that's a name to Google. I love Dorothy Draper's style. I mean, this doesn't really represent her style 100%. Usually it's much more colorful and kind of out of control, kind of Mad Hatter Tea Party style. But here she kind of pulled it back a little bit. So it is literally a restaurant around a pool, and in that, surrounding a pool, and with the columns and everything. And I love the way the columns are fluted until about, most of the way down, and then the last quarter or so is just plain round. I mean, very sophisticated. And the cornices up above, that's what those are called, right? Are also painted black to match. Those big birdcage light fixtures. And of course, the muses there themselves. This was an iconic lunch spot in New York City for about 30 years. Unfortunately, long gone. But I will tell you, the muses themselves, those like wild kind of, they're a little weird, but I mean, who doesn't love them? I know. They're a little like, they're impish, pixie kind of, I don't know. Yeah, whatever. And they're maybe not wearing any clothes. But anyway, they are now on display at Brook Green Gardens in Murrells Inlet, South Carolina. So you can bet the next time that I run into my friends from South Carolina, I'm like, have you guys been to? And by the way, the other thing about Dorothy Draper, you got to Google her. The biggest expression of classic Dorothy Draper style is at why am I blanking on it? White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia. Oh no, I cannot believe that I'm blanking. Oh, the Greenbrier. The Greenbrier Hotel in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia is a monument to Dorothy Draper's crazy, colorful, Mad Hatter Tea Party style. You love it. I love it. We all love it. I wish we could all just meet up there. How wonderful would that be? I know. Okay, speaking of how wonderful, with the Empire State Building standing way back there as our landmark, as our icon, as our beacon. This is Greenwich Village. Apparently on a Sunday afternoon, parking is $1.25. From 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. It costs you $1.25 to park in New York City. I love that. Oh, all day parking. Yeah, $1.25. Anyway, we are living in a creative atmosphere, in a creative environment, in a culture of creativity. New York, a beehive of clever, of invention, of pushing the buttons forward, of moving the society onward. And here the creativity starts on the street, and you go see it there. Paintings are hung all over on this fence. I love just looking at all the paintings. I mean, we could go on and on and on. I mean, you can kind of get the vibe of the paintings and everything. But I love the guy in the red shirt sitting in that webbed lawn chair, looking at the Tinkle Bell ice cream salesman. Apparently they have ice cream sandwiches and ice cream bars. I don't know why when I Googled Tinkle Bell ice cream, no. You're not going to, nothing comes up. It's so weird. I have no idea why. They even had a little character. Look at him. I know, he's kind of Bob's Big Boy. But anyway, all I could keep getting was like, what was I getting? Tinkerbell. I wasn't Googling Tinkerbell. I was Googling Tinkle. That is an L-E? Yeah, Tinklebell. So anyway, I know. And by the way, a guy on the far right of this slide is sitting on the front fender of like a 56 Plymouth. Please do not sit on the fenders or hoods or trunks of classic cars. Even though I know you think you can and that you think you should or think you could, you can't, because it will dimple the metal, possibly, and you don't want to do that. So just a little precaution for the preservation of classic American cars, each one a world-class national treasure. The tour of Greenwich Village and the art scene continues, this time between a 54 Chevrolet with button caps and a glorious metallic green, emerald green, and a 56 Oldsmobile Rocket 88 in lipstick red. We see some pastoral old world scenes, old world country scenes, and a row of admirers, including a redhead and a little girl dressed up in her Sunday best. Must be Sunday, because that's a little Sunday dress, isn't it? White bobby socks, white shoes to match. That dress has to have a little crinoline underneath it, a crinoline slip or whatever they're called. And then the little hat and everything. I mean, she looks like she walked straight out of a storybook. And here in the raspberry suit of wool, an afternoon suit, early 1960s, you can tell by the 3/4 length of the sleeve, very Jackie Kennedy. Yes, in the early 1960s, ladies' afternoon or day suits, the sleeve length went up to the mid forearm there, as hers is. Anyway, and she's got a very progressive short haircut. Well, it is New York City, it is Greenwich Village, and this, after all, was the kind of the beginning of the bohemian movement, the movement of free thinkers and progressive types. Here we have a Pontiac fender, a rear fender on a Pontiac with an Indian head there. Of course, the Indian head Pontiac, and the portrait painter. He's kind of beatnik with a goatee and that hat. And I love his tweed trousers. The kid there in that glorious sweater looking on the little girl. And I don't know, there's a guy right in front of her. Is he smoking a cigarette? That must be what he's doing, all dressed up in a suit and tie. They must be from uptown. They're not bohemians. They're coming in to like check out the scene. And the lady there with two like pins like on her afternoon dress, gloves in one hand, and holding up what looks to be like a little angel or something. It's hard to tell there because the picture got a little double exposed. But anyway, it is a smart set of people hanging out in Greenwich Village, including these two. This is the gray flannel looks of 1956. He wears a V-neck Okay, I better calm down. I just love these two. They are like, look at them. They're like on the catwalk. They're on the runway. He wears a V-neck knit of cashmere over a flat front flannel pant. Or call it a trouser, call it what you will. She, a simple collared pullover crop top over a skirt cut from the same cloth. Absolutely classic in every way, every day. Here's another afternoon sophisticate in Greenwich Village, giving us the side eye. But look at the guy behind her looking over at her. I mean, ladies watching this, young ladies, older ladies, medium ladies, can we talk about that very spellbinding haircut she has? It's kind of like, it's wanting to start to be a little bit of a shag, but it's not a shag cut. It's kind of starting to be a little like 1971 Carol Brady on the Brady Bunch. Hers flipped out. This kind of flips under. It is such an unusual haircut. Take note. Take this picture to your hairdresser. And those big pouty lips painted in red, just like the lady beside her. Yes, and oh, the guy on the right looking right into the camera. I don't know, there's just something kind of hypnotizing and mesmerizing about these street scenes of Greenwich Village in the 1950s. Because you know there's a lot of energy going on there. You can just feel it. Speaking of energy, this young lady is quite energized, popping out of the subway. By the way, I know, I love this shot. By the way, you guys, the subway in New York City started, according to my research, in 1904. I thought it started earlier than that, though. Anyway, did you know there's a subway museum in Brooklyn? Yeah, absolutely a must-do. You got to go to Brooklyn to go to the subway museum when you're in New York. And by the way, twice a year, they actually roll out a layers of time display of subway cars that you can actually ride on. I believe it happens twice a year at Christmas. So if you go onto if you go onto the Subway Museum website, I'm sure they're going to tell you when they take out the vintage subway cars, and you can ride all over Manhattan. Well, maybe not all over, but they go specific places and all the times and stations are marked so you know where and when. So I know, it's almost too much for words itself. The glory that is New York subway system. It is like going on the subway to me is like going on a ride at Disneyland. It really is. It is a ride. And when you're on it, you're like holding on and everything, and it's so thrilling. when I go to New York, though, I wonder, gosh, if this was my everyday mode of transportation, would I still feel the same way about it? Of course I would, because I have, this ability to kind of just experience the world in a wondrous, wonderful way, which, thank goodness, just makes life so much easier that way. When you're really looking out for the beauty, for the moment, for the experience, and just knowing when you find it, and then experiencing it and saving that moment in your mind, and just, having it there always to just kind of reflect upon, and then also inspire you to do more. Anyway, how much do we love Polish ham, Fleischmann's Gin, the Labor Day Parade, the billboards on the left there. We are looking east on 42nd Street, and I don't know about you, but I just love all of the visual mayhem. You are in the heart of the big city. You're getting close to Times Square. And on the marquee back there, the purple mask. On that bus, it says, ride the surface way. They're competing with the subway system. And a man crossing the street, blocking the passenger front fender, dual two headlights of that 1958 Oldsmobile in lipstick red. And of course, right next to it, a 59 Ford taxi cab with a license plate placed in the most bizarre license plate placement I've ever experienced on any car. I don't know why, but anyway, I just love also the depth of perspective of this shot. I mean, that concrete canyon that you're in there, and these two ladies. Yes, indeed. The park, what does that say? I wish I could read it. Why can't I read it? Hotel. Oh, sorry, I can't read it. Anyway, they're actually, these images are kind of small on my monitor screen. But anyway, not too small to see. There's still nothing like a rocket Oldsmobile, 1960, West Side Story, or maybe it's 61. I guess it is 61 because West Side Story is playing at the Winter Garden Theater. Yes, the legendary Winter Garden Theater. But we're not talking about the Winter Garden. We're not talking about the guy looking at these two ladies right there. This is a mother and daughter visiting from Brooklyn. And I know that because that daughter woman, she, about 15 years ago, she emailed me and said, I want you to have our family slides. And I will forever be grateful to her and everyone else who's called me and said, I want you to have the family slides. When people do say that to me, for me to include in my archive, I always say, make sure to go through them and take all the slides out that you want, because once they kind of infiltrate into my archive, there's no way to get them back. I mean, it just doesn't work that way. But anyway, I love seeing her young and here. And I remember she met me at Farmer's Market in Hollywood. And here she looks like she's about 16 or 17 or 18 years old, wearing a Glen plaid suit with a biased black trim, black buttons to match, 3/4 sleeves, straight skirt, over a simple pump of white leather. Mother a little more casual in a white flat and a two-piece afternoon dress, warm weather. And I love the way that trim comes up and becomes the bow right over her left hip bone, don't you? I know, I thought you would. No, the basket purse. Basket purses show up so often. It's like nobody ever talks about basket purses, but I mean, I have been well-versed and well-educated in the realm of basket purses because they show up so often in slides, and you know it's hard to miss them. Speaking of hard to miss and speaking of Oldsmobiles, here is another 58 Oldsmobile parked on the curb in front of the theater where a time to die, a time to love, a time to die. That's what it says. And there's also there, it says on the left, pizza, burgers, what's it say? Pizza, burger, Pete's. Pizza, burger, Pete's. In the middle up there, that blue sign, the Astor Hotel, the legendary Astor Hotel, that was probably there for about, I'm going to say 65 years, torn down in 1966. And on the marquee there at the big theater is the Vikings. Yes, it is 1958. The Vikings, I guess we might as well just say it, did not endure as a classic film. In fact, I've never even heard of it. But frankly, I'm intrigued and want to see it because I love Viking ships, don't you? Maybe it's the Norwegian in me. I don't know. But anyway, I just love the scale of the, they take over the whole side of the building. I mean, this is Times Square after all. And giant scale advertising has been a tradition there for decades. Here we are. This is the Pepsi Cola advertisement there on the Bond Clothiers building from 1954 to 1961. And of course, the bottle, or the bottle cap there in the red, white, and blue where it says Pepsi Cola, the lights went like, like that, you know, animated. And then the bubbles behind the two giant Pepsi-Cola bottles there, you know it's all animated. And of course, that tape sign that says, hi, what does it say? 7:05, present, temperature, what? Anyway, I don't know. It says hi, 7:05. It must be 7:05 at night. Yeah, it looks like 7:05 at night. But the clocks on the Bond Clothier O's do not work. Also, let's notice the Holland ice cream truck. And oh, on the marquee, it says South Pacific. I just noticed that. Anyway, and just also, you guys, if you're going to take a night shot, take the night shot exactly when the sky becomes this color. So there's a very brief period of time in photography when the sky is actually this blue, but it becomes like white before, like at the end of dusk. Well, this is the end of dusk, but you know, kind of toward the middle part of dusk, it becomes like silver and it's not as pretty. Wait till it's almost dark and your camera, especially your digital camera, will make that sky a beautiful bright blue because the colors, stunning. Okay, now you see the Bond Clothiers there. You see the Pepsi-Cola. And oh, the way it says the light refreshment in your favorite lesbian aunt's handwriting. I love that. It's hard to read, but it says the light refreshment there. Before Pepsi-Cola took over that advertising space, it was the advertising space for Bond Clothiers. Between, Bond Clothiers, 2 trouser suits. So it was a place where you bought clothes. And it was one of the busiest suit sellers on the planet. It probably was the busiest suit selling shop on the planet, men and women. 1948 to 1955, this building was known as the Cathedral of Clothing. Broadway between 44th and 45th. And by the way, it says 2 miles of neon, included 2 7-story tall nude figures. And what we're not really seeing in this picture, which is so bizarre, is right behind that big word up there, Golden Bond, B-O-N-D, is a waterfall. A waterfall! But for some reason, it doesn't look like it's all bubbles, I guess, coming down, so it's kind of white, but we're not really getting it at all in this picture that that's water, but it is water. So obviously there's a lot to see in Times Square. I live for this. My favorite billboard ever is this TWA billboard. I love the Constellation airplane there. The Constellation, there were 900 of them built between 1943 and 1958, all built at Lockheed in Burbank, California. And the distinctive feature of the Constellation airplane are the 3 tails. Absolutely love it. And by the way, it was the most glamorous way to fly until the jet airplane that we know to this day began service in the year of 1959. But anyway, the shape of that frame, and you know that's a 3-sided thing there in the middle of that frame. It goes around 3 ways for 3 pictures, advertising Europe, USA, Europe, Africa, and Asia on the Lockheed Super Constellation. Where do we begin to behold the glory? A moment ago, you might have noticed the camel sign there. We're going to get to that in a minute. But first, we got to talk about the almighty checker cab. Checker cabs have been around since the 1920s. In 1956, they went to this body style, which virtually remained as is, more or less, until they stopped manufacturing in 1982. The checker cab manufactured, the checker car manufactured in Kalamazoo, Michigan, was the ultimate taxi in New York City. I think there might be 1 or 2 still left hireable in New York City. You probably have to go online and check out if you want the quintessential New York taxi cab experience. A checker cab would be the one. And they have checkers on them. You can see there's some checkerboard on the top there. But anyway, checker cabs, the checker taxi cab. I need another little drink of water. Will you forgive me for a moment? Just bask in the glory of the glow of the TWA sign. That must be the Astor Hotel there. And of course, the camel billboard. We're going to get there in a second. Here we go. 1, 2, and... okay. Camel billboard. I'd walk a mile for a camel. This is one of the most famous, most iconic billboards in the history of billboards. It was there from 1941 in Times Square till 1966. And the most iconic feature of, the most memorable feature, and the most spectacular feature of the billboard, besides the obvious, was the fact that every 4 seconds it blew 4 rings of smoke. Rings of smoke coming out of a billboard, reminding you that you want to smoke. And typically they had famous soldiers, movie stars, or athletes athletes as the brand ambassador. This happens to be a television star of the 1950s and 60s, Phil Silvers. He had a show on television called Sergeant Bilko. So anyway, I love also that it says, love that camel, and that kind of like late 50s handwriting there. I love the stores there, the Coca-Cola sign. It looks like Everett, Vicky, Arrow Shirts, Hector's. There's a cafeteria. What else? A men's shop. Whoa, I know, it goes on and on. I just love the whole scene, don't you? Yeah, 44th Street. There it is, the Hotel Claridge. So there we are. Speaking of Times Square, the thrill continues. A Time to Love and a Time to Die at the the Mayfair Theater. A light bulb advertisement, fluorescent tubes. We have the bridge on the River Kwai at the RKO Palace. And Say Darling. Don't you want to go see Say Darling? I know you do. Yes, you do. I love the taxi cabs, the people, that lady's white hat there, and that bus. And of course, right up above the bus, you can see something very thrilling, very exciting. And that would indeed be the Planters Peanut billboard. Here we see it through the moving bus. Somebody, a passenger, a tourist in New York City, stood there with their camera at the front of the bus and took this. I just love first of all, you know what I really love about this photo? Well, of course, the crowning touch is that it was taken through the bus window. But I love the depth of perspective. I mean, that really reveals kind of what New York acts and looks and feels like, even now. Just these canyons of buildings that you're in. You know, to me, New York always kind of seems like LA is lost like in the 50s and 60s, Southern California, LA. But New York City is, to me, lost in the 20s and 30s. I mean, it really has that kind of Art Deco soul and spirit in its style and design. I mean, of course, there's tons of mid-century buildings there, and they're amazing. It's very Art Deco to me. But anyway, the Life magazine billboard there, I. Miller, beautiful shoes, the glorious finish, that apricot and cream 1955 Oldsmobile there, the Cadillac, and a pearl gray turning the corner, and of course, Mr. Peanut there, ready for his close-up. Mr. Peanut is now, that was a little too much for my throat. Now I have to cough. Sorry. Okay, I need another little drink of water. Maybe I better calm down a minute. Oh, calm down. Maybe I better calm down. How are we doing so far? Doing pretty good, right? I know. I love New York. You love New York. Whoa! Where do we begin? Okay, Planters Peanuts. So Planters Peanut, Mr. Peanut Man. Mr. Peanut, he is 107 years old this year, and this iconic billboard was built there in the year of 1947. And I wish we could see him animated because he goes like this. And apparently the peanuts are animated when they come out. And there's a thing going around, that round circle around that can of peanuts. It goes around and around and around. And anyway, I just love this billboard. We love Mr. Peanut. We love Planters Peanuts, everything to do with the brand. And that is the peanut store right underneath there. So you go in there and you know what you're going to buy. You're going to buy peanuts so you can take them to watch the brand new Broadway musical, Mame. You coax the blues right out of the horn. Mame. You charm the, you charm the husk right off the corn, Mame. Bum, 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 ba-da, ba-da, ba-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Mame! The legendary Broadway musical starring the iconic star, Angela Lansbury. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, opened at the Winter Garden Theater in the year of 1966 and went on to be a very famous musical. I will tell you, there's also a movie. This was the musical version. Before in 1958 is the movie called Anti-Mame. So you might enjoy those movies. And then Lucille Ball actually made the musical movie in 1974, which is not necessarily regarded, I'm trying to be nice here, as the high moment of Lucy's career. But Lucy's always great. We love Lucy no matter what. But anyway, Angela Lansbury in Mame on Broadway. Yes, Winter Garden. There you can also see a drugstore, a Coca-Cola sign, Nappy's Music Center. I can't read what that middle one is. It says, yours truly. It must be some sort of a smart shop, maybe a shoe store or something. And of course, I think you can see there Hawaii Kai. Hawaii Kai was a restaurant and bar, of course, done in the Polynesian Exotica Hawaiian theme. And how much would we all enjoy that? If only someone would have taken slides inside, we would be looking at it right now. But we don't have time for that because we're on our way to Idlewild Airport, ladies and gentlemen, now called JFK International Airport, when built in the year of 1960, it was Idlewild. It was the alternative, the big brand new modern version of an airport in New York City. LaGuardia is the older, smaller airport. It is not too far away, actually. Sometimes you fly into LaGuardia when you go to New York, but JFK is kind of the granddaddy of all the airports. Well, actually, no. LaGuardia came first, but in 1960, they expanded with a new airport. And this is the glorious American Airlines terminal with the red, sapphire, and purple stained glass panel that was 300 feet long. Unfortunately, they bulldozed the building in 2000, well, I don't know what year, but maybe 20 years ago. Sadly. So right now all we have are pictures left of it, and some of the glass still exists. You can go online and search American Airlines 1960, like Idlewild Airport, stained glass, and you can actually buy pieces of this panel. When they bulldozed the building, they took down the glass and they saved it, and people have done different things with it, so it lives on. It would be fun to really research where all the pieces are, and anyway, we love all that. But I love, the ground floor, drive by there where the people are walking. And then up above, you can see there's a car on the ramp up above. I mean, this is the essence, the epitome of mid-century modernity. You like mid-century architecture? Yes. Well, this is some of the most spectacular. And here is another terminal building there at Idlewild Airport. And, of course, you can see the rounded ceiling, the arch shape of the ceiling with the recessed lighting. I mean, don't you love that? I know you do. The plants hanging down and everything. I mean, where do we begin to behold the glory of this? Is the epitome of mid-century modernity. And, of course, the crowning touch is, yes, the Calder Mobile. Do you call them mobiles or mobiles? I have always called them mobiles, and I have always loved mobiles. Since the first one I ever saw, I don't know where it was, but I must have been in about first grade. I'm like, I love those. I've never had one in my house or anything, but one of these days, you can make one, you guys. Get some coat hangers and start. I mean, you can do it. You really could. I mean, it's like just, balancing it out. So anyway, it is a Calder. It was actually constructed in 1957. It's called .125, which refers to the gauge of the metal. And I will tell you, when they bulldozed this building at the airport, gladly, they did not bulldoze the miracle of mid-century art that this Calder is. It is now in, according to my notes, Terminal 4 at JFK in New York City. This building, of course, is the Pan American Building, Worldport, they called it. Again, an exquisite example of mid-century modernity, form follows function architecture. I mean, that canopy goes around and serves as shade. It serves as a shade for the ramp that goes up there, you can see. And of course, on the other side, just beyond the ramp, all the way around, are where the airplanes pull up. I mean, let's if we have to, let's CGI, digitally, AI recreate this. I need to experience this. I want to go there. Unfortunately, bulldozed it in 2013. We just lost it. Oh, I know. Anyway, thankfully, well, I'm a little overwhelmed. This is the darling of all the mid-century architecture at JFK Airport. This is the TWA terminal, built in 1962. It is considered to be one of the most unique and interesting and unusual mid-century modern buildings in the known universe. It is terminal, I can't even speak, it is Terminal 5. I think I need another drink of water. How's everybody doing so far? You doing fine? Good. Oh dear. Uh-oh. I love the afternoon traveling clothing, the suits of Mr. and Mrs. there. They are all dressed up and ready to travel. And here is a close-up of the building. We could go on and on and on about it. I love the dinosaur neck, the dinosaur light fixtures there in twins. And of course, the building itself by Eero Saarinen, who was a great designer, also designed the famous St. Louis Arch. Anyway, miraculously, I will tell you that this TWA terminal building was saved from the wrecking ball. It is a true miracle of mid-century modernity and a miracle of preservation, because now it has been repurposed as the TWA Hotel. Yes, it has. And out front there, you see a Falcon Squire station wagon, a 1964 Dodge station wagon, and that silver wagon looks like a 1962 Chevrolet. I love the blinds in the windows and the organic, unforgettable structure of the shape of the structure. Whatever I'm trying to say. You know what I mean. Look at the inside. Looks exactly, virtually exactly like this to this day. As I said, now a hotel. You can go to the airport, you can stay at the hotel and experience it all in its glory. It still has the sunken, that waiting area there, the sunken waiting area there, the sunken pit, as I'm going to call it, in that red, just the organic form, the organic shape. I mean, it is absolutely, well, out of this world. I love the flags there. I love the railing. I love the staircase coming down. And of course, the crowning touch to this particular image is that little girl with her bobby socks, her black Mary Jane shoes on, her little daytime pink dress for traveling. I mean, where do we begin, you guys? I know. And you want to know departures and arrivals. This is it. This is the arrival and departure board. It looks like a giant eye and a pair of lips had a baby with a Venus flytrap, doesn't it? I know. Anyway, it is still there in place. They have not removed this. I think. I have not been to the TWA Hotel. I know, I'm a little ashamed of myself, but you know what? As I said earlier, it's always fantastic to have things in life to look forward to. It is, and I look forward to going to the TWA Hotel sooner than later. And when I'm there at the TWA Hotel, wait, I better calm down. TWA, Trans World Airlines. Yes, back in the day, Trans World Airlines, the trans community had their own airlines, and this was their terminal. Anyway. You get to go when you're there, staying there at the TWA Hotel. You get to go to, it's not very far, to go to the site of the New York World's Fair. Yes, here we are. This is the picture perfect view well, let's just start on the left there. That's the New Jersey Pavilion, all those blue roof lines. Far in the distance there is the United States Pavilion. We come around on the right. That is the Africa Pavilion. Africa Pavilion. There on the right. It looks like a lot of little pavilions. But anyway, and then come around to the Court of Flags, leading right up to the central focal point, crowning touch, and icon and landmark of the New York World's Fair. That is the Unisphere, ladies and gentlemen. A mid-century masterpiece of the absolute highest order, 14 stories of stainless steel built by the U.S. Steel Corporation, and miraculously, it is still standing in that very place. When you go from JFK Airport into Manhattan, you pass by it on your right. You cannot miss it. I visit it as often as possible when I go to New York, and I just stand there, and I've loved the image of this, the iconography of the Unisphere since I was a little kid. By the way, who forgot to put up the flags that day? I mean, what's going on? Anyway, yeah, those are all flagpoles. Hello. And we talked about the United States Pavilion. Here it is in close-up. I love the, is it Christmas or something? The shape of those trees there. That sculpture, the pair of flags there. And, of course, again, just like the curtain backdrop on The Tonight Show, it looks so much like it, the blue and green. I remember when I was about 10 years old, my favorite color combination, well, it went from yellow and green, yellow and lime green, to like peacock blue and emerald green. Blue and green together. I just thought that was like color nirvana. I know. Anyway, here we have, I'll tell you, the Unisphere in the background there. On this slide was crystal clearly marked, my first wife. Well, we all know there are no guarantees in life. Here is a view from the Skyway there at the World's Fair. It is the architecture of chaos, according to what you see here. But the theme of the 64 World's Fair was man in a shrinking globe in an ever-expanding universe. And I don't know about you, but if I could take a time travel experience and make it happen, it would be, well, I mean, where wouldn't I want to go? But I would definitely want to go to the New York World's Fair. For it is a wonderland to discover of all kinds of exhibits and displays and food experiences and entertainment experiences and cultural experiences and art experiences and so many, many things. This is a miniature of the World's Fair. And what's weird about the World's Fair, oh, by the way, it is about 30 minutes from the heart of New York City in Queens, the borough, Queens, New York, and it is, what was I going to say? Darn. 30 minutes from the heart of New York City. And it's Flushing Meadows. Oh, that's what I was going to say. The site is called Flushing Meadows. I've always felt a little bit uncomfortable with anything like named Flushing because it reminds me of flushing a toilet. And I don't know why I never want to associate flushing a toilet with Flushing Meadows, but I can't stop doing that. Anyway, Flushing Meadows, you can still go there from the city. You go on a train, or from JFK. You might be able to take a train. But anyway, from the city, it's a subway that kind of comes out of the sub and goes up above ground. So then it's kind of more like a train. But anyway, blah, blah, blah. But what's unusual about the site of the World's Fair is that the freeway goes right through it. So you're looking at a real freeway there. And then you can see on three sides is the World's Fair happening. So right up front, closest to you, is the monorail. We're going to get to that monorail in a minute. But first, this is the Pavilion of the Vatican. Yes, it is. And the Vatican Pavilion and the Belgium land area. But here's the freeway in the background. And there in the distance on the far upper right, you can see the raised red track of the monorail. But first we're going to, what just happened? Okay, sorry, I pushed the wrong button on my clicker. Anyway, in Belgium, the Belgium land, this is the best place to get hammered in copper. Yes, your portrait done as that little girl is having done. Also the place to have the ultimate taste treat sensation, the culinary star of the 64 World's Fair, which is the Belgian waffle. But before we get to the Belgian waffle, just bask in the glory of the glow. It feels like you are in Europe. And we've all been to Europe and we've all seen, the older parts of, several of the countries that look just like this. This, of course, is a recreation, and hard to believe that the fair lasted for 2 seasons, 64 and 65, and they bulldozed almost everything after. So it was a very temporary 2-year kind of experience that you could have in New York City. I mean, it was really kind of the ultimate time in New York City when the World's Fair was happening. And anyway, so Belgian waffle, here it is. She's having one. So they were kind of, this shape. And you could make a Belgian waffle at home. In fact, most waffles we get in restaurants now are the tall waffles, like a Belgian waffle. I mean, for decades and decades, they were more flatter waffles, and you can sometimes find those as well. But the Belgian waffle is the taller waffle. And if you want to make a Belgian waffle at home, all you have to do is very simple, is make a waffle and chop up some strawberries or cut up some strawberries, however you like your strawberries, mashed or sliced or just however you like them. And toss them in some sugar so they kind of, what's it called? They macerate. I know that word is weird. But anyway, all the juices come out. That's so weird. It makes strawberry juice. That's what I'm trying to say. And then you put it on the waffle, strawberries right on the waffle, and whipped cream. That is a Belgian waffle. Waffle, strawberries with sugar, and whipped cream. That's it. You can do that at home. You can get that at IHOP. You can get that anywhere. Any reputable diner will have a strawberry waffle, aka Belgian waffle. And don't you love her little kind of dirndlish outfit there? I know. And not to mention the logo of the World's Fair, the Unisphere, on what's got to be the side of a trash can. I know. We're not talking trash right now. We are talking treasure. This is it right here. The AMF monorail of the New York World's Fair. I just love it stylistically and realistically. It is absolutely spectacular. Air-conditioned comfort, 3 stories above the fair festivities below. AMF stands for American Machine and Foundry. Started in Brooklyn about 110 years ago. And ultimately, they became most successful making bowling alley equipment. So like in the 50s, when bowling exploded as suburbia's favorite sport, everything said AMF on it. So an AMF bowling alley, they would have supplied everything, the pin spotters, the automatic pin spotters, the furniture, and the whole thing. Absolutely incredible. How much do we love vintage bowling alleys? I know. So, the other thing that I was going to say about the monorail cars is I'm not sure how many monorail cars they actually made for the World's Fair, but according to what I've been told, I mean, it's kind of highly unlikely, but I heard through a fairly reliable source that in Houston, Texas, one of these monorail cars still exists. So not to be confused with the monorail that was at the Texas State Fairgrounds, not the same monorail. That does still exist in a way, but we're not talking about the Texas State Fair right now. We are talking about the World's Fair of 1964, and here is part of the scene. There are pools and landscaping and unusual light fixtures and sculptures, and of course, pavilions of all kinds representing industry and commerce and corporations and states and international pavilions. This is the Kodak Pavilion, ready for its close-up. Very unusual. It is kind of, well, first of all, obviously, the big focal point are the 5 screens that go around that central column there. And they worked out this very special system of how these images would look crisp and clear, and they were backlit at night, and it was modern lighting technology. Anyway, blah, blah, blah about that, but it was pretty interesting and pretty glorious and pretty gorgeous. But what we're really looking at here is this crazy, like, kind of, I almost said moonular. Moonular, is that a word? Like moon? This moonular building. And this is called the moonroof. People are walking on the building, and those big spiky spikes there, very unusual. You've heard of the Tower of Pisa. Well, this is the Leaning Tower of Rail. Yes, look at the rails, the way they lean in. Very futuristic. Of course, the Skyway in the background, the Unisphere, and I love that pointy up, the points there. And then in the background, that weird thing with all the bubbles. Those are all apparently snack bars, but we're not talking about snack bars right now. We're talking about the fact that if you do not feel like walking around the fairgrounds, that is no problem at all. This is called an escorter. It is a Greyhound transportation vehicle for 1, 2, 3, or maybe, if you want to squeeze and get cozy, 4 people, but one ride operator for 1 to 4 people there. They you can see they're branded by Greyhound. So I've been trying to find one of these escorters. I'm not sure how many they were. I mean, there might have been 100 of them or something running around the fair. But they're not easy to find. I found out about a guy in 2013 in Wichita, Kansas, that restored one to divine perfection, but all of my sources are leading to I cannot find him. He has a hard to Google name, and I cannot find it. And my friends in Wichita, they're like, well, we should know. We'd go to every car show in Wichita, Kansas, but we don't know where this guy is. We've never seen it. We've never seen that. We don't know. So I will find it, and when I do, I will let you know. There was also a motel called the Motel Marquette in Maine, and they had one that was in rough condition, but I can't find them either. I think the motel is closed or whatever. Oh, you don't want the little version, you want the multi version. Don't you love trams, you guys? I know. I love trams. My first tram ride ever was either at the Los Angeles County Fair or Disneyland. It was always a thrill to get on the tram at Disneyland because, well, at least when you were on your way to Disneyland from the parking lot. But anyway, behind this Greyhound-sponsored tram full of people on a very busy day at the World's Fair, behind the tram you see the Electric Light and Power Pavilion, and weirdly it had a light coming out of the top of it, pointing out into the outer spaces. That was 1 billion candle power of searchlights, equal to 340,000 automobile headlights. So it was super, super bright and could be seen for miles away. It was the light beacon of the World's Fair. In the background, you see the 7-Up Pavilion sign. I love it, don't you? There it is, a little closer, but not quite close enough. And up close, the top there on top. It's very mid-century modern. I mean, and you can see the wonderful world of chemistry, the DuPont exhibit there, which inside showed you the wondrous ways that chemicals were going to improve our lives. And there was a show called Molecular Magic. They had all kinds of stuff going on in there. But you know what, you guys, seriously, you might as well get it out in the open. I do not know why, but collectively as a society, the people who actually went to the World's Fair took very few pictures of the insides of the buildings. I mean, it was almost as though they said, ladies and gentlemen, please no photography, or something like that, because so few images exist of what happened on the insides of these pavilions. So anyway, we have, by the way, I mean, this is a round building with a ramp. I mean, we love ramps. They're so futuristic. The lighting fixtures that go around the building, the red trim and everything. I just love it, don't you? And DuPont, of course, DuPont, French. Anyway, and way over in the distance on the left there, you see what looks like the top of a badminton. Are those called birdies? I remember in high school, I hated sports so much, but the only sport that I loved in high school was badminton. It was kind of my speed and I could do it. Does anybody play badminton anymore? Is there a badminton club around? I want to play badminton. I need some exercise. I mean, tennis, can't do. Badminton, the thing kind of goes a lot slower than a tennis ball, so it gave me time to get to it so I could actually do it. I don't not move quickly, especially side to side, but we're not talking about moving quickly, and we're not talking about side by side. We're not talking about badminton. We're talking about way over there, that badminton-looking birdie thing is the top of this. Oh, yes, it is. This is the Indonesia Pavilion. Indeed it is, and I don't know about you, but this looks like Indonesia meets Googie in every glorious way. I love a sawtooth zigzag roofline, especially in the round. This has a lot going on, doesn't it? That ramp, that observation terrace that comes out that rounds around. I mean, this is like an ancient temple and a flying saucer had a love child at the World's Fair. That pagoda out front and those 4 lions on that post marking the grand entrance of what you would see inside. You would have a restaurant, you would have art, you would have a gift shop, you would have some sort of a movie about Indonesia. You'd probably have some live music or some sort of an entertainment experience, costume experience. I mean, it's all overwhelming. This is the Jordan Pavilion, which looks like, I mean, where do we begin? It's like kind of mushroom meets a mid-century church, multi-mushrooms, and mushroom forest. I absolutely am spellbound. I wish we could have an interior view because that's all stained glass, and those little round things, those are like blue and green glass. Absolutely spectacular. You can see also kind of a very unusual tower. I need another drink. Look at that tower. The one in the middle, the mid-century modern one. I just love the way it's so modern. I know. I don't know what it does. Those are probably bells or something, like a carillon. But and the Skyway, we love that. And then right up there on the third line there on the right is the Whispering Column from Jerash. I've never heard of Jerash. Apparently that's a place in Jordan. I should brush up on my international knowledge. Anyway, it is 1,200 years old. And guess what? When the fair got bulldozed, the fine folks of Jordan said, hey, it's our gift to you. And it is still there in Flushing Meadows Park at the site of the World's Fair. It's just a giant park. Very few structures exist, as I said earlier, from the World's Fair, but that column is still there. 1,200 years old. Oh, no, 1,800. 1,800 years old. Not 1,200. 1,800. That's old. So anyway, I get a little, I mean, that's deep. I want to go there just to see that. I know. I'd love to kind of put the puzzle pieces of history together. Like these slides have inspired me so much to go traveling to places and see what I can see in the slides or see it now or whatever. I mean, again, the layers of time. The Hong Kong Pavilion. I hope you like Chinese red. I know I do. Who doesn't? This is absolutely, well, I mean, to walk by this, to be in the glow of the color theory of this, the motif of this, the look of this, the feel of this, the culture of this, those three junks, count them, 1, 2, 3, that little bridge, is that a little ride there? It almost looks like little boats that are going around. And I love that. I don't know who that lady is there in her afternoon suit, being all like she's, waving an airplane in. This is not a runway, although the lady in that coat right up front there with that probably fake fur collar of white fun fur, she thinks it is a runway. She's given a lot of attitude. I love her, but not as much as I love the Hong Kong Pavilion. Right next door to it, I hope, I'm not sure, because I don't have a map showing the grand scheme of everything, really, but this is the Chinese Theater Pavilion, a replica of the Chinese Theater built in Hollywood, California in the year of 1927. It is indeed the most famous movie palace ever built in the history of the known universe. In Hollywood, you can still enjoy a film at the Chinese Theater, and also, of course, the legendary forecourt with all of the legendary movie stars' handprints and footprints. Well, mostly footprints, I think. But anyway, this is the version they built at the World's Fair. Fine, you want to go to the snack bar inside the theater? You're going to get a Coca-Cola. No, don't go to the snack bar there. Go to the Coca-Cola Pavilion at the World's Fair. Yes, Coca-Cola started in Atlanta, Georgia. What was it, about 1885, 1888? Anyway, you can Google it. But there you can see this is, well, it's kind of a close-up. We're not getting the broad shot here, but you get the idea. Kind of dinosaur rib cage kind of entrance there, which we love. I know. And that Coca-Cola logo, that 1888 handwriting still to this day. I know. I mean, don't ever change it, Coca-Cola, please. I mean, that is, you know what, Coca-Cola? You know, your brand has got to be the most famous brand of all brands. I mean, I don't think Nike or Adidas are as famous. Coca-Cola has to be the most famous brand. McDonald's would have to be up there as well, but not anywhere near Coca-Cola. Anyway, it is the world of refreshment. You can see on that mosaic wall of turquoise. I love the turquoise. And that fun, very 60s, very mod font, world of turquoise spelled out. On the right, you can see these weird kind of triangle lines. That's a beginning of a carillon. That is a Tower of Bells. After the fair was over, the Tower of Bells went to Stone Mountain Park in Atlanta. I will have you know that. But anyway, you want something a little savory to go with your Coca-Cola? How about this? The world's largest cheese. The Wisconsin Pavilion, you can see a little bit of it behind there. It's actually kind of a pyramid building, and the gold roof goes straight up like that. And anyway, the Wisconsin Pavilion actually got saved and moved back to Wisconsin, and I went to it in Wisconsin. There are many things that kind of got saved and moved from the World's Fair. I mean, we could be here all day talking about all of that, but anyway, I did go when I went to Wisconsin. I did go to see the Wisconsin Pavilion in Wisconsin. But anyway, this woman, her name is Mrs. Polehugger, because in this collection of slides of her travels, she always held on to poles. Don't we love her? Oh, yes, we do. I mean, she's having a good time, you can tell. Anyway, I just had to include this, manufactured illustration shot of the General Cigar Pavilion, because the dad is doing a smoke ring with his cigar. The kid is looking on like, I can't wait to start smoking. And the mother's like, how long until you start smoking? Anyway, but the building actually had a smoke ring making machine, and it shot up smoke rings. I don't know how often or whatever, or how successfully, but I mean, smoke rings. Smoke rings are one of those things that we don't really think of that much, but remember when you were a kid and you had one great uncle that would look, I can blow smoke rings. And I had a great uncle. He's the only person in our family that I knew of that went to jail twice. He used to blow smoke rings for us because, they all smoked up a storm. And we'd go, can you blow smoke rings? And, he'd blow a few and then it would be over. But anyway, we loved it. But anyway, here is the actual building itself behind this glorious, very space-age fountain. I know there were so many fountains around the World's Fair, but I mean, again, we could be here forever. And that is the General Cigar Building. I don't see a smoke ring, but you can see the Electric Light and Power Building behind it there. We saw that earlier. It's like Wizard of Oz architecture. And then all the bubbles, looks like a bunch of George Nelson bubble lamps there. That is a snack bar. There were several of those on the campus of the World's Fair. And then on the left there, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Johnson Wax Pavilion. Yes, the Johnson Wax Pavilion of Racine, Wisconsin, ready for its close-up. I love the signage there with those colors and everything. Kind of reminds me of Rubik's Cube in a way. But anyway, that theater, that gold thing actually got saved and moved back to the Johnson Wax headquarters in Racine, Wisconsin. And I've been there twice, yet I have not been in this theater. But I should call them up and say, I should do a slideshow in your theater. I wonder if they'd say yes or no. I don't know. You know what? It doesn't hurt to ask. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. And let me tell you, the people that get the most in life are the ones that are vocal about what they want and what they desire. If you want something, let people know. People want to give you what you want. They do. So I want to do a show there. Racine, Wisconsin, Johnson Wax, are you listening? I mean, perfect. We could talk about the history of it all, the World Fair. Anyway, we could go on and on. We could talk about Wisconsin. I've been to Wisconsin. Wisconsin is amazing. You guys, there's stuff everywhere. We live in a wonderland to discover. There's something interesting almost around every single corner, no matter where you go. Around the corner at the World's Fair, if you didn't like the Wisconsin Pavilion, which you would have, of course, you would like this. The Travelers Insurance Company building. Where do we begin? Again, we are not talking about or seeing what's going on inside of these buildings. But generally inside of these buildings is a couple of, like a walkthrough exhibit talking about the history of the business. There's usually some sort of a live show, some sort of live music. There's also usually some movie that's like 13 or 15 minutes long that tells you, again, what you've just walked through. So it's kind of a multimedia experience in each of these buildings. This is the IBM Pavilion, International Business Machines. Inside of this building, again, by the way, it's a very unusual building there. The way that it's kind of that big kind of like typewriter ball with all the letters on it. It says IBM, 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 IBM all over it. Anyway, it's like a giant egg, but in like being held up by a bunch of trees. It's like very organic. It's very unusual. I mean, again, all of what you're seeing here was quite progressive in the scheme of stylistic architecture at the time. I mean, really, it was very futuristic. It didn't resemble the 1950s at all, or the 40s or the 30s, or really anything. It was a very forward-thinking, fresh-looking fair all the way around, and it was quite impressive. Oh, you want ancient times? You want dinosaurs? Sinclair Dinoland entrance free? Don't you love anything called Dinoland? I know. I do too. So you go beyond the wall, you can see a dinosaur, a couple dinosaurs back there. This is my favorite dinosaur of them all, the Tyrannosaurus Rex. There were probably about 8 or 9 or 10 dinosaurs. Eventually, after the World's Fair was over, they basically toured around the country on flatbed trailers, and they would come to your town and everyone would go see them and everything. Ultimately, the 8 or 10 dinosaurs, most of them still exist. And if you go online, you can Google where they are. I think it would be fun to just spend 6 months going around the United States in search of them. I mean, it's always fun to have a goal. And anyway, this is a Triceratops. He still exists as well. In the background, you see the U.S. Royal Tires Ferris wheel. A big giant tire had a baby with a Ferris wheel, and you get to go round and round and round. And I will tell you, that big giant tire still exists without the ride going around and round and round. Still exists. It is outside of Detroit, somewhere on the border of Detroit. I've passed by it a few times on my several trips to Detroit, which, by the way, Detroit is unbelievable. Oh, that's the most underrated city, full of treasures that we know the least about, that we should know the most about. So, but anyway, we're not talking about Detroit right now. Actually, we are talking about Detroit. The Ford Motor Company Pavilion looks like a giant dinosaur rib cage. Speaking of dinosaur rib cages, speaking of dinosaurs, you can see there the dinosaur rib cage. You can also see the line of people waiting to get in. You can also see a tunnel there, a glass tunnel. That is a car. you basically, you go on a ride like it's, well, this is a Disney designed exhibit. So by the way, we haven't even gotten to Walt Disney at the park yet. But anyway, Walt Disney designed this exhibit, and we're not even really going to see much of it because really the main attraction at the Ford Pavilion was the fact that the ride vehicles, the dark ride vehicles, were Ford Motor Company, brand new Ford Motor Company convertibles. That is a red 64 Park Lane convertible there, two 1964 Galaxy 500 convertibles. Behind that is a Mercury Comet Caliente convertible. There were 354 cars. The engines were removed, the transmissions were removed, the gas tanks were removed, and I mean, where do we begin? You go into the tunnel. Welcome to Ford's, what does it say? Welcome aboard Ford's Magic Skyway. I wish I could read. I think a Walt Disney adventure through time and space. A Walt Disney adventure! Enough said right there. Anyway, you guys, this is one of the few attractions that people snuck their cameras, and here are two Ford Motor Car Company cars, and of course, the legendary Primeval World, which is thankfully still entertaining people to this day, and those of us who grew up in Southern California and those of us who grew up going to Disneyland know this exhibit well because it moved to Disneyland after the World's Fair. And when you go around Disneyland on the train, just before you pull into Main Street Station, you go through Primeval World. It was taken from the world, created for the World's Fair, but then boxed up and moved to Anaheim, California, where it still exists to this day. And by the way, that dinosaur is still chewing on that grass hanging out of his mouth. You know, it's weird because as a child, as an adult, my whole life, it's just something that's so comforting and so constant. I always thought to myself, if that dinosaur is still chewing that grass, that's kind of a signal to me that everything in the world is still fine. So then when the pandemic hit and they shut down Disneyland and he was no longer chewing, I'm like, okay, this is serious because that dinosaur is not chewing that grass right now. So it's just like weird, that I kind of thought that way, but really it kind of made sense. So he's chewing again. Everything's fine. Well, maybe not everything, but you know what I mean. But we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about in the background there, you see the Ford Pavilion. Now we're getting into the Chrysler Pavilion here. That's a Chrysler rocket ship. And for your pleasure and mine, a giant Chrysler V8 engine there. Very toy-like, very Land of the Giants, very whimsical. Speaking of whimsical, the Chrysler exhibit continues. I love these people sitting at the bench. Like, that guy wants to talk to those three ladies so bad. He's dressed for it. He has got his afternoon suit and tie on. I know. It's like, dude, you look awesome. And ladies, you've all got those big purses that you could hit someone with, your afternoon walking shoes in. One of you's wearing a hat. It's clearly warm weather. But behind them is, again, a very whimsical, fantasy, toy-like sculpture of a car representing the Chrysler Corporation. Here is another view of it. It does not resemble any car that ever was or ever has been. But up front you have several of the motor cars of the lineup of Chrysler in 1965. That is the Crown Imperial on the left, and that is a Dodge Polara there, and on your right, a gold metallic Chrysler 300. Yes, and the back end of a Dodge Dart, all perfectly placed in a pool, surrounded by fountains. A fantastic way to get the rusting process started. Yeah, no, we don't want to expose our cars to water like that, but apparently they didn't care. But anyway, this is the Chrysler turbine car. This was an experimental car. I'm not sure how many were on display at the World's Fair. Yes, a concept car was the only car ever tested with a turbine engine, similar to an airplane engine. There were actually 50 of these that were made, and between the years of 1964 and 1966, 203 people, real people in the real world, got to take this car home for I'm not sure how long, but just drive it as their regular everyday car for a couple weeks or whatever and kind of Sorry, I get a little dry mouth. It's kind of dry today. It's hot outside. Hold on. Okay, right in the middle of a sentence. Anyway, the Chrysler turbine car is iconic. Jay Leno has one. I just saw one at the Museum of Transportation in St. Louis. The Peterson in LA has one. I'm not sure how many of them still exist. But anyway, 46 of them were made available to be driven by the general public. I mean, how bizarre is that? This is a whole study in mid-century, like, new thinking, a turbine engine car. But anyway, ultimately, we do not have turbine engine in cars. Anyway, we could go on and on. Oh, speaking of Chrysler products, this is a 1964 Dodge Dart being driven by a hell driver. And I don't know about you, but I love a good demolition derby or like stunt driver show or whatever. And this was a thrill for the younger set at the World's Fair to go there and sit there and watch the hell drivers perform their show. If you wanted something a little lighter, back to Walt Disney, another one of it says Walt Disney's Pepsi-Cola presents Walt Disney's It's a Small World. Also presented by, or a tribute to, what does it say there? UNICEF. So you can see, of course, you guys, we might as well get it out in the open right now. The most popular attractions at the World's Fair were, of course, the Walt Disney attractions. It's a Small World, again, created for the 1964 World's Fair, but ultimately was retired when they bulldozed the World's Fair. They did not bulldoze the inside of this ride. They carted it all. They boxed it and carted it all to Anaheim, California, where we are still enjoying to this very day. It's a world of laughter. Yeah, a world of tears. Anyway, thank goodness. Because you know what? Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. But right now we got to talk about the Tower of the Four Winds. This was the icon, the visual, magnet to the Small World attraction at the World's Fair. And of course, I guess you can't really tell here, but it had lots of little moving parts and twirling and whirling and in the wind and everything. And it was quite fascinating and amusing and bemusing and just a wonder for the eyes and the senses. Anyway, unfortunately, according to several legends, there's no real reason why. Nobody knows why it actually did not wind up getting dismantled and coming back to Disneyland. But for whatever reason, nobody knows what happened to it or where it is or where any part of it is. It is one of the great mysteries of the what happened to's at the 64 World's Fair. We may never know, but we will know that this is Alice in Wonderland and Alice in Wonderland and her White Rabbit. So there were several characters out front there representing Disneyland. And of course, how much do we love Alice in Wonderland and the White Rabbit? And how much do we love, okay, it's a world of laughter, a world of tears. It's a world of hope and a world of fears. There's so much that we share that it's time we're aware. It's a small world after all. It's a small world. There is so much that we share that it is time we're aware. This is where France becomes Switzerland. I don't know about you guys, but I mean, if I'm going to learn about the style guide of the world, the first place I want to dive in to just kind of, as I did. I mean, this ride taught me so much about the, I was going to say, no, I'm not even going to say it. Well, okay, the stereotypical motifs of the countries around the world. But you know what? It did me so good. It got me interested in finding the real thing and going to the real places. Disneyland, much like the World's Fair, was an education. It was infotainment. It was amusetainment. I paid more attention at Disneyland than I did at school. At school, I just wanted to socialize and do art projects. But Disneyland, I paid attention and I learned so much. But we're not at Disneyland, we're still at the World's Fair in front of the Walt Disney Small World Pavilion. Of course, Pepsi-Cola will forever and always be associated with legendary movie star Joan Crawford. And anyway, because she married in 1955 the CEO when her movie career was over. She married, well, basically, she married the CEO of Pepsi Cola, Alfred Steele. And anyway, then she went on to kind of be the face of, the spokesmodel, if you will, of Pepsi Cola around the world. And an appearance at the World's Fair is no exception. There she is, dressed in pink, handing out what looks like a lollipop. She's like forcing it into a hand of a child, either that or taking it away, I'm not sure. But anyway, I love, in this picture, I love the fact that one of Walt Disney's 3 pigs, oh, you see Pluto there too as well. One of Walt Disney's 3 pigs, his hat, is it a her or a him? I guess it's a him. Him. The hat shape is exactly the same hat shape that Joan Crawford is wearing. So Joan Crawford showed up wearing a hat just like one of the 3 pigs at the World's Fair. I love that. This is, actually, we are not at the World's Fair anymore. We're going to go right back in a minute, but I have to talk to you about moldorama machines, injection molded plastic figurine machines that were first introduced to the world in 1962, but they made a bunch of them for the 64 World's Fair. So the World's Fair really is and always will be the ultimate home of the moldorama machines. And anyway, this one I took out of the Volo Automotive Museum in Illinois. But I will, and it's from the World's Fair. Don't you love the graphics of it, everything about it? I don't even remember. Make your own Walt Disney character for $5. But I will tell you where the most moldorama machines in one place right now currently, and they're all vintage machines, are at the Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn, Michigan. So they have about 10 of them, I think. And so if you go there, you can spend the money and get all the injection molded plastic figurines. So yeah, I know, it's a thing, of course, you know. Back to the World's Fair, Borden's Elsie the cow in her dairy display, obviously promoting how wonderful Borden's dairy products are. I love this kind of like, gay 90s, not gay, but that's what they called it back then. Gay 90s motif. Elsie's just standing there like, what's going on? But she does have her daisy garland on. The line drawing quality of this art is absolutely timeless to me. And I'm kind of thinking that it's like one backdrop, maybe a couple, but then those figurines are on 2 moving platforms, or not platforms, but 2 moving elements, and they kind of go like this, and maybe they stop for a while and they might talk a little bit and then kind of go or something. But anyway, I don't know what is that a duck there? Yeah, they're all sitting in like mid-century modern chairs. It's so bizarre. Anyway, cheers to that, and cheers to children drinking beer at the World's Fair. It looks like maybe that's root beer. I hope it is. Either that or a dark ale. I'm not sure, but it looks like beer to me. But anyway, I know. Whatever. What kid has not had a sip of beer? Anyway, this is the Bell Telephone Building. It looks like the Star Trek Enterprise, the Starship Enterprise from Star Trek. And that looks like a big cell tower there, doesn't it? But gosh, could it have been? One of the big deals that they showed you inside the Bell Telephone Pavilion was, hold on, this really is, you guys, one take. We're doing this. It's like we're really doing this. Anyway, everything about this. Talk about futurism. I said it before a couple minutes ago, and I'm going to say it again. Literally, it is so futuristic. This is even more futuristic than practically any building we ever really got. And in front of a reflecting pool, how ideal does it get? There's nothing better than for a building to have a reflecting pool around it or beside it or in front of it. That is the ultimate version of mid-century modernity, is having a reflecting pool. Anyway, inside you can make free long-distance phone calls and even call somebody and, well, no, I guess you couldn't because they didn't have a picture phone, but they showed picture phones. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. We could go on and on and on. You guys, the whole show could have been about the World's Fair. There was so much to cover. This is G's Progress Land. Again, a Walt Disney production. This is the home of really, I think, to me, the greatest attraction ever in the history of all attractions of any theme park or fair, or anything that I've ever seen or experienced. This is the Carousel of Progress. Yeah, and I know. You love that. That's the escorter there, the Greyhound thing going by in front. And that is a Greyhound bus parked there. Greyhound, but we're not talking about Greyhound. We're talking about GE, which you see up on the top of the tower of that sign right there, that incredibly famous logo, that iconic logo. And by the way, we have not talked about these light fixtures that are all over the World's Fair, which are kind of like a third of a Rubik's Cube wanting to happen. I mean, have you noticed those? I mean, I've been meaning to point them out, but I haven't. But anyway, inside that round, so mid-century modern building is this. This is the Carousel of Progress. This is, I mean, you guys, I've talked about it before and I'm going to talk about it again. My ultimate favorite thing ever. I loved learning about knowing how to look through the layers of time, because on this attraction you saw a household and the way that they sang and spoke to us about the way audio animatronic robot mannequins sang and spoke to us about the way electricity changed, well, how it changed household progress. And you can see this is in the 1890s. There's the audience, there's the logo up there, and the curtain. So basically, I mean, it's kind of hard to explain, but there were 5 sets, or was it 4? It was 4. Anyway, 4 sets, and it stayed stationary, and the audience was like in this donut thing that went around and stopped at each station, at each set. And as it moved from one set to another, the characters sang, "There's a great big beautiful tomorrow shining at the end of every..." So that was the 1890s. This is the 1920s. It went on to the 1940s, and then sometime beyond the world of 1983, 73. But anyway, that was it. So after it went away from the World's Fair, when the World's Fair was over, of course, it went to Disneyland. And it was there until 1975 when they got rid of it and shipped it off to Florida. And, I was devastated. Disneyland was never the same without the Carousel of Progress. But anyway, so you can still see the Carousel of Progress in Florida. And there's just something, it hardwired my brain exactly as my type of brain needed to be hardwired. Learn about the layers of time. You know, and numbers, 1920s, 1940s, and just like, anyway, blah, blah, blah. But, okay, again, another attraction. This is General Motors. General Motors, the largest corporation in the... I should have shown you. There is another escorter going by. And look at the Rubik's Cube light fixture there. Yes, the General Motors, that very leaning toward you building inside the Futurama 2, a spin-off of the famous exhibit from the 1939 New York World's Fair, which I haven't even mentioned yet. This is the city of the future, where we're going to have midtown airports, high-speed bus trains, super skyscrapers, moving sidewalks, and underground conveyor belts. Anyway, it doesn't look that different, really, than downtown Los Angeles, I have to say, because the freeways, I mean, in several other cities in the United States and the world, so they kind of got it right. But really, well, downtown LA did not look like this yet in 1964. But we don't have that one building in the middle there has that piece hanging off of that. We do not have that. That never happened. But I just love anytime City of the Future, even if it's a vintage view of the City of the Future. I love it. Also in the General Motors. We went by an exhibit that showed us that we were going to be having hotel rooms underwater. Yes, we were going to have these underwater pods where you could go stay and look out at the sea life. Very mid-century modern, but as we know, there might be one place in the world where you can actually stay overnight in below sea level, suboceanic. Anyway, yes, I think that's what it's called, suboceanic. And anyway, also they were going to have those things called aqua scooters, that guy's up there on an aqua scooter. I mean, I'm not sure how that would work, but I mean, you'd probably get eaten up by a whale or something, or an octopus would come and get you. But anyway, it's really fun. Also to see this, one of a couple of prototype show cars of the future by General Motors. This is the GMX Stiletto. And according to what I read online, that I don't know where this car is. I don't think it still exists. Or is it in someone's basement somewhere and we don't know about it? Maybe. Anyway, it's wraparound glass, there's no pillars, and you enter through the rear. You open up the hatchback and you enter the car that way. Obviously, that never came to be. This is the diesel truck of the future, which looks to me like a diesel truck and a dune buggy had a baby. Doesn't it? I know. On the side, the label of Frigidaire, division of General Motors. So again, more of the General Motors exhibit, very futuristic. As we know, trucks did not wind up looking like this. Strollers need to look like, at the World's Fair, they get to look like a Corvette. Yes, indeed, it looks like a stroller and a Corvette had a pair of twins. By the way, I love the mom's dress. As we all know, we've known and we will know forever, the world is always in need of more polka dots. And by the way, yes, you're right, these little strollers are prized collectibles, and several of them do still exist. I want to go find one in person. This is the legendary landmark New York State Pavilion of the 64 World's Fair. It's like a carousel in a way, but it's not a carousel. It is it's round, but not a carousel. It is called the Tent of Tomorrow. Why they called it that, I have no idea. That is suspended plastic in 4 colors: turquoise, violet, red, and orange. Fantastic color theory, wrapped in a band of yellow. I love the posts. I love twin towers, twin poles of twin flags. And anyway, I'm not sure what was really going on there. It looks like there's a model airplane coming in for a landing there. And of course, what we don't know and what we don't see, or maybe you do know, I don't know. But the floor was a giant terrazzo map of the state of New York. And of course, right next to it were these still, by the way, the New York State Pavilion still stands in ruin. Most every one of all of the other structures you have seen in this show are gone, and were gone starting in 1965 at the end of the fair. They started bulldozing everything. However, this trio of towers, all observation decks, they are still in place there next to the building we just saw. You can barely see it there in shadow. Of course, the Rubik's Cube light fixtures lit up at night. But anyway, it is just so bizarre to go to the site of the World's Fair because you will see these 3 towers and that building in ruin. And also you will see from the 1939 New York World's Fair, they also preserved the New York State Pavilion of 39. Inside that, in 1964, for the fair, they built the world's largest scale model of a city. And you can get an idea. This is still there. You can still see it. You can go there right now. Well, they might be closed right now, but every day you can go there. You can see the people standing up there in that staircase on the upper right there to give you a little scale. This is a massive, perfectly executed, perfectly crafted scale model of the city of New York. You're looking at Central Park right there, Manhattan. You walk around a platform and look at it, and I mean, you're in wonder of how shocking it is, because it is so shocking. But anyway, also you can see the Twin Towers are there. They added to it over the years a bit. I can see I can see not the Statue of Liberty, the Empire State Building. Again, you see Central Park there to give you an idea. And finally, again, I will say, please, when you are in New York City, go and stand beneath the most beautiful, the most awesome, grandest scale sculpture of Earth ever created before or since. Still standing there, all in its gleaming glory, absolutely beautiful. The flagpoles may be gone, but you can imagine them, the colors and the glory of them all blowing in the breeze, whipping in the breeze. And here it is these days, and there I was just a few years ago, just having that glorious moment of being there, experiencing the layers of time, and going in search of knowledge of our great history, and how inspiring and how interesting it is, and how underrated it is, and how undersold it is, and how much of a pleasure it is for me to present all of these retro slideshows there. If you haven't seen the other ones, you can go on my website, charlesphoenix.com. There are others. This concludes this show. Thank you all for joining me. Don't forget, I'm available for personal video greetings on Cameo, and I hope to see you at one of my live shows. Check out my website for upcoming live shows. You guys are the best, and I hope you have appreciated and enjoyed New York Cityland. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much.